Good morning, guys. Sack attack back at you out on my I think I timed out this bridge I walked to back there, just right about 5 miles from my apartment to go there and back. So that's a nice little hike to get out of bed and eat breakfast and hang out with the baby and kiss the wife and go for a walk and have your plans and feel good about life. Cut out that just wasted behavior as far as like, am I doing the right thing to achieve my goals? For me, it'd be like playing a video game on the laptop or watching Netflix or scrolling through YouTube or looking at Facebook, whatever it is. I do budget myself some time for that, but just knowing that I'm limiting it. So guys, there's a new feature on YouTube that I hope you'll use. It's free of charge for you, but you can hype a video up to 3 times a week for free. And it just helps the video get recognized. It's for smaller creators with less than 500,000 subscribers, which I have way less than that. So please give us a hype. I saw it on some videos recently and I didn't know what it was or how to do it. So I'm going to figure that out, and hopefully you guys can figure it out and start hyping up some videos that you want to support. So, like I said, all my friends and family in Minnesota, all my new friends and my new family in the Philippines, which I have tons of friends in the Philippines now because I keep adding, Facebook keeps recognizing like somebody you might know, and it's somebody my wife knows or her mother knows or her aunt or uncle or cousin who I've all added, and then I'm added. So welcome to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, but please, it's free to you. Give it up that hype. I got one before and I didn't even know what it was. So I'm hoping we can hype them up some more. But thinking about my videos, guys, I think I'm gonna rearrange them a little bit, where I keep forgetting to like take pictures or video of what I eat for breakfast, and it's just a great documentation of what is this guy doing for me and for those trying to get some support. And then also out walking, I remember to take videos when I'm walking because I'm just listening to audible books and I'm meditating. And I started thinking about, well, I still weigh like 238 pounds this morning. Do I really need to eat 3 times a day? Because I keep eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'm doing good as far as not eating at night. Like whenever I eat, my goal is like 6:30, 7:30. Don't eat past that. But even if it's 8:30, it really hasn't been though. There's been plenty of days where it's 5:30 or 6 and I don't eat past that. And then breakfast, I don't eat right away either. It's usually hour or two within whenever I wake up. But talking about waking up, like I opened my eyes in bed this morning, realized I slept all night, didn't get up and go pee like usual. It was like, wow, I really slept good. Sleeping is getting amazing. The more you work out, the more you eat right, cutting out caffeine and other things like that, alcohol, tobacco, caffeine, drugs, pornography. Limiting screen time is something I really got to work on, but you'll start sleeping better, increase exercise. But I was talking to myself, do I really need to eat 3 times a day? And the way my breakfast is usually a little later and my lunch is a little, or my dinner's a little earlier maybe than some people, as far as don't eat late, I was thinking to just start cutting out lunch for a couple reasons. One, to limit my calories, because overall eating less is all about eating less food, cutting those calories. And on that vein, it's one of the reasons I don't really buy into the carnivore diet anymore, or the keto diet. I do in some ways, as far as like, yeah, it's healthy as long as you eat very little, but it's just very hard to eat very little on those diets, even though you lose 20-30 pounds right away from flushing out all the carbohydrates and sugar, which every gram of sugar has 3 grams of water, so you lose tons of weight. But people usually stall out, and then it's hard to eat less because you're eating fat. It's hard to eat less calories because you're eating a lot of fat, which is 9 calories per gram of fat. So if you just switch that fat, and maybe don't worry so much about the macronutrient content, the exact micronutrient, fat, carbohydrates, protein. Maybe it's not as important as, and there's research backing this up, it's not as important as just eating less. So instead of eating so much fat, eat a little more healthy carbs. Of course, no processed carbs. Of course not. I ate my meal bar for lunch yesterday because I was tempted to eat it on my hikes, and my hike was much later, and I was like, hey, as a reward, I'll just go hike. And I actually hiked over 5 miles yesterday. I'll eat my meal bar on my hike, and it worked. It's a 400 calorie lunch, but it's not, it's a processed, You know, it's not a protein bar, but like a meal bar. So it had plenty of carbs and fat and protein all in one, and enriched with vitamins. It's a decent little meal bar, but not compared to fresh fruits and vegetables, nuts, eggs, fish, seeds, berries, all the things we're designed to eat, all the things the Bible says we should eat. Specifically, just tons of lists of to eat fruit in the Garden of Eden, and to eat meat in the book of Leviticus, and eat vegetables they're talking about in Daniel, and blah, blah, blah. Beans and nut seeds. So, talking about the content of the video though, so I'm out for my walk and I'm yakking at you. And I'm thinking maybe this isn't the best time to talk because I'm out walking, although, you know, I keep thinking of it, so I do it. But just to record a little bit of it, like, let me, hey, wow, look, I'm walking down the river. This is awesome. You know, maybe take a few clips and be like, hey, I started way down there and I went way down there, and my, you know, like I'll show you on the watch, I got like the GPS watch, what is it called, the Garmin, some Garmin, I'll tell you which one later, but you know, it keeps good steps, which is pretty accurate on your mileage as long as you dial it in. You gotta hit the GPS a couple times and go for a walk, and then see how far you went on the GPS, and then kind of dial in the steps to match, because you really don't know if you're running or walking, and it's a big difference. You know, I had it dialed in when I was running every day, and it was accurate, but then when I started only walking again after the stroke, it wasn't as accurate, so I had to dial it in a little bit. But anyway, talking back about the video, is to just photograph and video those meals and be like, hey, here we go, just to help support me as far as accountability for my meals. This is what we have for breakfast. Like I said, I made 3 pieces of French toast for my wife first, with a certain kind of like a multigrain seeded bread, which is probably better and healthier than the bread I ate, because I had like keto bread, but it was like white keto bread. It's super low carb and high fiber, but it's processed, you know, it's got something's in there making it, you know. My wife argues like, it's still flour, there's something in there, and I'm like, maybe she's right. But the seeded bread, like I talk about the Ezekiel bread, I really love that stuff. Tastes great on sandwiches, great for things like French toast. So I made us these 3 pieces of that, and then there was some eggs left over in the bowl, so those are all scrambled up, so I dumped them in the pan. Ooh, I just went up a hill. Threw a little cheese on there and made us a little cheese omelet to go with our, so it was kind of a big breakfast, I guess, which I have to admit, over the last couple weeks especially, and my wife kind of buys into the small dinner, so watching my wife eat, it's definitely, she has the biggest appetite for breakfast, and physiologically it makes sense, because you just went the longest without eating, you know. We go, especially her, she does it naturally. I'm doing it kind of intentionally, but she naturally doesn't eat. She never snacks. The only time she'll have a snack is in between lunch and dinner, and it's kind of more like, hey, I'm hungry for dinner, so I'll have a snack while I'm cooking it, you know, within an hour or something, which is kind of what I've been doing too. But talking about her like natural intermittent fasting, like if she eats at 6 p.m., she doesn't even consider eating anything after that. I mean, I used to kind of force the American lifestyle on her and give her a dessert treat or something, but if I don't, she doesn't want it, and so obviously I cut all that out, especially since October 19th, 2025, my little strokey stroke. Might even come out I might write a book called Stroke, kind of like rowing the boat of how to recover and how to stay positive, you know. These things happen for a reason. It's not like, oh, I had a stroke and now I'm in danger of having 10 more. Well, it's not if you take care of yourself, not if you're, you know, hey, you had a skyrocket high blood pressure, morbid obesity, diabetes, you had all these warning signs. If I would have just done some research, but I probably wouldn't have listened to it anyway, so it's probably a good thing it happened, and it's a good thing I'm recovering fairly well. Again, still a little wobbly. I can walk straight. If I look up, I get dizzy. Can't really balance great. Like if I stand on one foot with my eyes closed, I tipped over immediately. If I stand on one foot with my eyes open, I don't pass, but I'm starting to get better at stuff like that. So back to the video, guys. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe just skip it to breakfast and dinner. And I don't like exactly counting calories but you need to at some point. It's kind of like weighing yourself, and like quit lying to yourself that being overweight is okay and that you love yourself. Like your actions, deep inside of you, you have what you believe about yourself. Let's put it this way. You have like an identity. And I don't want to get into all the identity politics of nowadays, but they know what they're doing. They know how to manipulate you and twist you based on your identity. And if they know how, then I pray that we can know how to twist and manipulate ourselves into our own desires. Because deep down inside, if you're morbidly obese, it's because you believe you are. So your actions line up. I believe I'm obese, so I eat like an obese person. I believe I'm an alcoholic, so I drink every day. I believe I smoke cigarettes, so I smoke every day. It goes me to that story of asking somebody, hey, you want a cigarette? And they say, no, I don't think I should have one. I'm trying to quit. That person hasn't quit. Next person, hey, you want a cigarette? No, I don't smoke. That's what I used to say. It went from both of those realities. When it was, no, I'm trying to quit, well, then it was hard to quit. When it went to, no, I don't smoke, then it was easy. Hey, you want to do some drugs? Like, no, I don't do drugs. You wanna, do some negative behaviors, whatever, steal, do anything outside of the will of God. I don't identify with that. That's not me. I'm trying to be a good guy to the best I can. I know I'm not perfect, obviously. Nobody is. I'll go on a fast and I'll say, well, like Jesus fasted, like, got to be good for you. Well, you're not Jesus. It's like, man, I didn't say I was Jesus. I'm the opposite, Jesus is the savior of the world, and I am the opposite of that. I need the saving, not do the saving. So that's a lot of what this channel is about, is saving yourself, using Jesus Christ as your guide. I keep saying I'm going to make these lists of don't do's, and I want to do it, but in a way it's kind of counterproductive. But maybe as part of, because I do want to write a book, or at least some kind of audible course, maybe just like a instructional course, which this whole channel really is, but to just focus it down to the exact behaviors and actions and thought processes, and a part of them is, part of it is just all those things not to do. The processed food, obviously, the sugar, the flour, the oil, cut all that out. And I always think of donuts. That's my easiest way to remember those three things. Donuts are made out of sugar, flour, and oil. Don't eat those things in any capacity. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. Limit screen time, which would obviously, get rid of any, I say pornography, but there's also, there's a million other ways to indulge in online or videos or movies that are negative. Like I would say, don't watch a horror movie either. Just as negative for your psychology as pornography or any kind of unnatural behavior. If it's against the will of God and you're watching it, like if those actions are, it's like thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. So we don't watch these things. They get embedded in, they create that identity. So also, you have that list of don't do's, but then the list of do's maybe right along with it. Like don't drink beer, drink water. Don't smoke cigarettes, do breathing exercises. Don't do drugs, do cold water therapy. Don't eat this yucky food, eat this good food. Exercise and all the things that are in there with it. So I'm hoping I can get home. The video's only at about 13 and a half minutes, but I'm hoping I can get home here next 15-20 minutes. We're gonna possibly go out for a later meal where I can count it as my dinner. And it's not great weather out, but it's a little warmer. It's not raining, it's not windy. Just go down to the park, bring the baby, bring our little gas stove and some salad or something, and something to cook, maybe a bowl of soup, or just to get out and enjoy the outdoors before it's a foot of snow on the ground and we're not going anywhere for several months. What else do we got, guys? I want to get back to, thank you guys so much for watching. Passed up that 100,000 subscribers a month ago or so. I don't really advertise anymore, so it kind of fluctuates every day. They might lose 50 or gain 5 or lose 20. But it's all good. I don't care about that anymore, especially with the stroke. Like, the channel is what it is. I enjoy it. I'm going to continue to do it probably for the rest of my life, but we'll see. Document all those things. Hope my new friends on YouTube especially, I hope you guys will consider to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hype up the videos. You only have you can't go back from a year ago and hype those videos up. You can only hype a video that's like current. I think it's less than a week, less than 7 days old. You can still hype them. So like all the videos I made this week, you can hype up. And I think 3 hypes are free, and well, just don't do more than that. I would greatly appreciate it. Any comment on any video, I'll say, hey, thank you. But again, it helps the algorithm. Just trying to grow the channel, grow the life, grow the lifestyle. Hopefully it's helping some people out there as far as like, hey, this guy's finding the time to go walk 5 miles. You know, I can walk around the block, because really that's all you got to do. My legs were so tight, I told my wife, I'm just going to go for a short walk. And I got out of the house and I walked down the block and I stretched my thighs on this. I just stopped and stretched out a bit. I'm seeing some crazy looking things in the woods here. I think a jacket is strung over, stretched out my legs and started walking down the block. And once I turned my Audible books on, which I'm listening to some really old, like self-discipline ones, maybe that's probably half of what this channel will end up being about is self-discipline. It's like, how do I get myself to do what I want? And it's not what do I want to do. I know what I want to do. These actions, these goals are, maybe run another half marathon, or be able to run half marathons like relatively easy. And they're never easy, but you get my point, that I can do it in a reasonable amount of time, like less than 10, maybe like a 10-minute mile or a 10.5-minute mile, like my last one was. Be a healthy BMI. I actually wrote a chart yesterday. It's not even all about like physical performance. It's just health related. Like, be a healthy BMI. So like for me, that's maxed out at 170. Like, it's actually less than that because I'm 5'8" and like 5'8.9. I'm not even like 5'9". And 170 is like right over the max. And yeah, I'm significantly more muscular than, like, I'm pretty sure based on my scale that checks your body composition, I have more than 170 pounds of muscle alone. So, to get down to 170 is going to be difficult, but I definitely don't mind losing some muscle to get down to a healthy body weight. Think about heavyweight athletes, whether they're wrestlers or boxers or UFC fighters, but especially football players and big basketball players and guys that weigh like 350-pound, 400-pound linemen. These dudes are not healthy, like, at all. They're athletes. They're not healthy. They don't live long. They need to get down to as skinny as possible. I almost want to tell every UFC fighter that fights in the heavyweight division, like 90% of them are overweight for sure. Like they could get down to 205 if they really tried. Even if they had to lose some muscle and tone out. A lot of the heavyweights, they gotta eat like a horse, like 5,000-6,000 calories a day, 7,000, because they're working out, which is gonna make you skinny. But they gotta fight. They gotta weigh. They can weigh up to 265 pounds. Gotta weigh over. So somewhere in there. Matter of fact, some of the best heavyweights that's ever been didn't even weigh that much. They weighed like 240, like Cain Velasquez. Quick, powerful, great wrestler, great boxer, great punching power, quick, nimble, agile for a heavyweight. He's beating guys that were cutting weight to make 265. And it's just a point of, the human body's just not made to be that huge. You gotta like alter reality. And it gets back to that identity. Like, I feel bad for anybody that's really that overweight. But think about yourself too. Like, think about your future 500-pound self. And think, how did I get there? And then make sure, because you could get there. I know I could. Well, I think I'd probably die before that, but I could definitely gain tons of weight if I tried. So it's like, don't do those things. Don't sit on the couch. And a lot of it is just be sediment. Live a very, non-existent lifestyle. Just don't move and keep eating. Don't drink water. Eat all processed food and high content, high volume. Or the opposite. Let's get it on track. Whew. All right. I'm starting to mumble on, and that's when I know that Jesus is telling me it's time to let it go. But we're feeling good, guys. Jesus is in control. Jesus loves you. I love you, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.